Hello and welcome to the Lost and Found Mama, the Immigrant Mother podcast. There's a weight to building a life in a country that's not your homeland. My guest today, Ren, knows what it costs to plant roots in foreign soil. In 5 years, she went from international student to business owner with 2 storefronts across 2 cities. She brought 3 children into the world while working full time, building a brand, and navigating the particular loneliness of immigrant motherhood, where every milestone is both a celebration and a reminder of the ocean between you and everyone you knew first. But here's what makes Ren's story cut deeper. She built all of this while carrying a grief very heavy. Instead, she turned it into fuel. She opened her first farmer's market stand while pregnant, heartbroken, and determined. She expanded her business while her body was still recovering from birth. She claimed Canadian citizenship, not as an ending, but as a declaration. I'm here, I'm staying. I'm building something that matters. This isn't a tidy narrative about immigrant expat dream. This is about what happens when you lose everything familiar and still choose to create. When you're mothering in a language that isn't your first, building a business without the safety net of generational wealth or proximity to family. And somehow, impossibly, you keep saying yes to more. This conversation is for every woman who's ever felt like she's building her life on borrowed ground, who knows what it means to grieve what you've lost while fighting for what you're becoming, who understands that resilience isn't pretty, it's gritty, it's daily, and it tastes like acai bowls served with hands that refuse to quit. Ren didn't just survive the last 5 years, she multiplied, and her story will shake something loose in you. Let's begin. Ren, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What a nice introduction. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be able to share my story. I really hope I can touch some hearts and encourage and inspire with my story. It's the first time I'm sharing it in more details, but I'm happy to do it here to share with a mom that is also an expat mom, an immigrant mom, and you know the struggles behind behind carrying that title. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, entirely my pleasure. So, Ren, in 5 years, you immigrated to a new country, lost your parents, built a business, had 3 babies, and became a Canadian citizen. But I don't want to start with the timeline. I want to start with the moment. Tell me about the morning you opened your first farmer's market stand in December 2022, pregnant with your second child, a year after losing your parents. What did grief feel like that morning when you were trying to build something?
Yeah, that was almost 2 years ago. I opened my first storefront that actually was a farmer's market stand, and I was pregnant. I was within 4 months pregnant with my second child. I had a little toddler at home, and it felt scary. I must
I'm
say, it was
sure.
scary. It was a big step for me, right? It was like stepping into uncertainty, was like a risk taking because business always involves risk. And especially, I was not experienced with business at that time. But I had faith, you know, I believed in myself. I believed in the business and the product that I created. I believed in the plans that God had for me at that time, and despite of all the fear, I went for it, and it was like a step, kind of like almost a faith based step, but with lots of courage. But I did it, and the grief side of it, it had been almost 1.5 year that I was grieving. So I can't say that like I was not grieving anymore. I was still grieving. We're gonna touch base on grief here on this podcast, but I must say that like it doesn't magically end. So it's something you carry with you through your journey. And I was still carrying the grief with me through that time. And I would just like what I could say how grief looked like at that moment was more like I wish they could be here and they could see what I was doing. I wish like they could, yeah. I was proud of myself, and I wanted to make my parents proud as well. So that's how grief looked like at that time. But yeah, it took me a lot of courage.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And hats off to that courage. But let's rewind a little bit. You're from Brazil. So when you left Brazil in 2018 to study public health in Canada, what were you leaving behind that you thought you'd always be able to return to? What did home mean for you back then?
So yeah, I'm from Brazil. I was born and I grew up in Brazil. when I came to Canada in 2018, I was 27 years old. I arrived here as a student, but back home, I had a whole background. I had a whole life. That I can't say it was a bad life. It was a really good life. Like I loved living in Brazil. I had a great career. So just going back a little bit, so I graduated from medical school. I was working as a physician for the past 5 years. I had like a stable career. I had quality of life. I had like my parents lived nearby. I had my own apartment, my car, and everything was going well. And when I came here, I wasn't sure what to expect. I just knew like I'm gonna go to a master's degree, and I have two options. If I finish the master's and I love Canada and I see this is the plan for my life, I'm gonna stay and I have a new possibility for my career. If I decide to go back home, I can still go back home and I can still go back to my career. I can get a new job and I have another degree. I have a master's that I can really leverage my career. So it was a win-win situation. And my parents, although they were a bit scary for me, they were a bit scared of like me leaving them and or like what is she gonna do there? They never traveled abroad. It was something completely new for them. So they were not sure, like, why do you want to do this? But if that's what you want, we're going to support you. And you know, you always have a place to come back to. So they would say, like, if it doesn't work, if you need something, we're going to be here. We're going to be here for you. We give you support. If you need anything financially, we're going to find a way. We're going to make it work. So I left. Like I had this certainty that I had a place to go back to and that I was not alone in the world, you know? Even
But it
if
was your first
Canada
time
wouldn't feel
moving out
home.
of Brazil.
Yeah, it was my first time. Not visiting, I had traveled before abroad, but it was my first time living far from my family. Yeah.
Okay. And you met your husband in January 2020, and then the world shut down 2 months later. So, how did falling in love during a pandemic when everyone was isolating shaped what you believed about building a life in uncertainty? Because, like you said, your parents were scared to, take such a big step that you were taking, going abroad and, trying to study and first time staying away from family. In 2020, you met your husband. Just like I said, the pandemic hit. So, how did that shape what you believed about building that life?
So when I met him was January 2020. Like you said, it was before the pandemic. We met online and we went for a date and we clicked right away and we both like connected. We knew we both wanted the same things. We had very similar values, principles, and we just got along. And then we started dating shortly after that. And within 2 months, everything shut down. Right? And I believe lots of people who were dating at that time, they thought like, okay, this is it, right? We don't know if the world's gonna be the same again.
Exactly.
I just like I met this person. He's a wonderful person. We get along. Like, okay, I'm just gonna jump in and we're gonna make this work. It's not like you could go out too much. You couldn't see different groups of people. You had to kind of choose a cluster of people for you to connect with during the pandemic. So we chose each other and said, okay, let's work on the relationship. Let's make this work. Let's have fun and enjoy, right? Not knowing what's going to happen in the near future regarding the world situation. But we just took the time to get to know each other more and to invest in the relationship. And yeah, I guess it was like
And that worked out
the
beautifully for
moment
you.
was very the moment helped in the terms of getting closer to him.
Awesome. Awesome. And in August 2021, you lost both your parents back in Brazil. I won't ask you to explain the loss, but I want to understand something. You were pregnant, then a new mother in a country that was not your birthplace during a pandemic when you couldn't travel easily. What does it mean to grieve an ocean away from where your parents were?
Yeah, so going back to the pandemic and how I met my husband and how we we connected and how we spent time together during pandemic. Well, shortly after that, we were together for around 6 months. So still in the middle of the pandemic, I got pregnant. So that was a surprise. Let's say like it was a big surprise, and I was even scared. Like, how am I gonna tell my parents that? What are they gonna think about that, right? They they met my husband at the time. We were not even engaged at the time, but they met him virtually.
Yeah.
And they really liked him, but they didn't know him very well, right? And suddenly he's part of my life, and we're having a child together, and we both of us were really happy. So when I told my family, they were very happy too. They were a bit worried about being so far and not able to come here because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was hard at that sense, but we made it work, and they started to get to know my husband more. And then I gave birth March 2021. It was still kind of a shutdown. Like you couldn't travel easily at the time, and schools were still not working like in person. Work was not in person, and lots of restrictions still happening. And then 4 months after I gave birth to my baby, I received the news that my parents passed away. It was really hard. It was like it was a tragedy, so I won't get into many details of everything that happened, but it was not like a natural death. It was a tragedy, and very shocking, and big trauma for me, big trauma for my whole family back in Brazil.
Yeah.
And I suddenly saw myself as alone. I mean, I had my husband and my baby, but all my roots, my origin, I was alone regarding that, right? I lost my parents, I lost my brother too. And lost, oh, thank you. I lost my apartment where I grew up, and it was just devastating. It was just everything falling apart, while at the same time learning to be a mom, learning how to deal, how to take care of the little baby, and the hormones is still like a roller coaster. And my husband and I still navigating being
Trying to
recent
figure
parents.
this out.
And yeah, it was tough, you know. It was a lot. It was a lot for anyone.
So did becoming a
But yeah.
mother so close to losing your parents change how you carried their memory? What did you need to hold on to from them for your child?
Yeah, so my kids, especially my firstborn, he only met my parents through video calls. We didn't have chance to travel to see each other. So, they passed away was August 2021. I had a trip booked to Brazil so they would meet my son. It was December 2021. It didn't happen, obviously. We had to rush back. We had to rush to Brazil after everything happened. We had to go prepare funerals, do all the bureaucracy, all the paperwork, and everything that involves when you lose loved ones, and when you were the only one that can solve most of the things. So I had to fly back to Brazil with the little baby, and what happened is like it's not only that my parents that died, not only my parents and my brother, but like the strongest link that I had with my culture back home, the strongest reason for me to be connected with Brazil. So I feel like that after that, not only regarding grief, but I also had to deal with reshaping my identity regarding my home country, and also learning how to expose my kids to my culture without having the physical presence of my parents there, you know.
Right.
So it's like you have to learn everything learn again everything about yourself, including about my roots, including about like who I am as a person, who I am as an immigrant. Like it's so many layers.
So many layers.
There are so many layers, and like when loss happens like this, like the biggest bond that you have, that is your family that knew you for your whole entire life, it puts everything in perspective, including who you are, and that affects, of course, how I link my child in with my identity back home, you know.
Back home.
So it does affect a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure it does, and it must have been really hard. All I can say is that you've shown a lot of strength and courage, and it does take a lot of resilience to be standing and doing what is required of you with a newborn, and going through all of that must have been really hard mentally and emotionally. So in August 2022, almost a year after losing your parents, you started Tupi Açaí Bowls. Forgive me if my pronunciation is wrong. You could correct it. But you started Tupi Açaí Bowls from home. Why Tupi Bowls? And, for everyone who's listening, what is exactly Tupi Bowls and why that particular business? Was this about bringing Brazil back into your hands when you couldn't go back?
So yeah, it was kind of bringing Brazil to Canada, bringing Brazil to where I live. But it was more than that. It was so since August 2021, as I said, I had a whole process of finding my identity again, finding what I liked, and finding purpose, finding what motivations to keep going, right? And I grieved intensely for a while, and I was on maternity leave at the time, which was kind of beneficial too because I did have time to grieve. Kind of, because with a little baby on your hands, it's not like you have all the time to grieve. You still have to do it. You still have to
You
do things
still
for the
have to
baby,
do
but
what needs to be done. That's true.
yeah, but it's a blessing too, right? Because you
Yeah.
have a reason to keep going. You have like you don't depend. Someone depends on you, right? You have to do something. You have to be productive. But anyways, I was still not back to my job. I was on mat leave, and within a year of being on mat leave and grieving and learning everything about being a mom, whatever experience I was getting through that 12 years, I really felt a need to do something impactful, to do something different from everything I had done before. So it was kind of like, okay, who is this new Renata? Who is the new Ren? And how how can I find something that gives me pleasure too? You know, I love being a mom. I'm gonna go back to my career later on. Like I am grieving, but I feel like better. I feel like more like myself again. But I need to find something that brings me joy. No, I need to find a drive. I need to find something that get me off my comfort zone. In other ways, different angles of my life. So my husband, we were talking. He said, "Why don't you open a small business or like a side job or something?" And the idea came first. I thought of like franchise that I could invest or different things that I could do. And then I started thinking, what is something that you really miss from your culture that you don't have it here? And it clicked for me, acai bowls. I love acai.
Okay.
Yeah, acai bowls. I loved acai, and it was something that my family and I would go to the beach and we would order acai, and it was like an affective memory for me as well, especially for my mom because she loved acai. And we didn't have anything here. That like there were a couple, but they didn't taste like back home. They were not like authentic. So I said, okay, how do I do that? How do I make acai bowls like the Brazilian way, not the smoothie bowl way? I wanted to do just like it tasted back home. So I started studying. I did courses online, and I would go to Latin stores and buy all the acai pulps they had, and I would experiment at home. And then I came up with a recipe that was really good at the time, and I posted on Brazilian community groups, and people started coming to my house, and they would start picking up, and I started deliver just within the community, right? And that's how Tupi Açaí was born. Was at my kitchen, my home kitchen.
Beautiful.
It was something that connected me to my roots, but also that I know it was a gap in the market here, and it was everything clicked.
Wonderful. How wonderful of you to, wanting to go back to your roots in the form of these acai bowls and actually investing time and effort into researching why there's a gap and how you can fix it. I loved the thought and the intention behind it. But you were working full time in clinical research, a field that you were trained for, invested in, and pregnant with your second child when you opened your first stand at a farmer's market in December 2022. So I'm going to ask, how did you navigate this side of entrepreneurship? As a business owner, what are some of the key takeaways you'd like to share with anybody, who's wanting to start over in a foreign land?
So for me, as I said, it took lots of courage because an unknown field for me.
Sure.
I had to really study and prepare myself. So what I did is like not only taking course relating to acai, but I looked for a local resource. So I'm in Edmonton, so the city of Edmonton has some resource for small business owners. The province has some resource as well. There are other business communities that you can reach out for. So I would say um, it takes a step. You have to take a step to learn. You have to learn, like, for example, how do I make a business plan? You have to go, you have to dig, you have to watch videos, you have to read, you have to try, and you have to find people that can help you through the process. So I went after that. I looked for help for the subject or whatever. I was not I didn't have expertise, so I outsourced help. The other thing, you have to really have an entrepreneurial spirit. So
Yeah.
usually I say some people have it from birth.
Yeah.
Some people they grow it through their lives, and some people they just say, I was not born to be a business owner. I just want stability. I just want to work, and it's fine, right? Everyone is different, but you have to have a drive
Yeah.
to be a business owner, because it's not just it's a life investment. Everyone invests with you, so it's not
Yeah.
just my investment. It's my husband together, it's my child together, it's our family dynamics. It
Yeah.
impacts everything. So I would say, like, first thing, if you have this drive. Second thing, don't do it all by yourself. Ask for help. I'm
Ask for
sure that,
help.
like, there are
Yeah.
other women, there are entrepreneurs, they are willing to talk to you. Reach out on LinkedIn, reach out on province websites and your city, and so many resources online nowadays. And you don't have to do everything by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
do your diligent search, because it matters, right? It's like
Yeah.
you don't wanna just risk everything. You wanna
Yeah.
have some more knowledge before you invest on something like a business. And the third one is, like, if you're scared, just doesn't matter.
Go for
Go
it.
for it. Yeah. You are gonna be scared. I'm still scared now. There are
Yeah.
decisions that we have to make now that the business grew. Like, okay, let's open a new store, let's sign a lease here or there, or let's sign a new contract. And I still feel I still feel like I freeze sometimes, and I say, oh my goodness, am I doing the right choice? But we have to do it. If I
And I
paralyze
think that
because of,
the perspective that I have is that's because you're deeply invested. So being a little scared is fair and it's also necessary because then you
it
take
is,
the
yeah.
next step and the next decision very, very carefully. So I think that's
Yeah,
okay.
but I would say, if you have the drive, if you have the dream, and if you did your research, and if you studied what you're trying to do, and you ask for help, and you still see the positive side of it, go for it.
Go for
Like,
it.
take the step.
Absolutely.
Take the
Absolutely.
step, because
Yeah.
yeah, that thing, nobody can do it for you. You have to take the step, and
You have to
wonderful
take it.
things can happen if you take the step. But if you don't, you would never know, right?
You'll never know. Correct. But
Yeah.
walk me through a hard day back in 2023. You're working full time, growing a food business, mothering a toddler. How did that look for you? How did you navigate and manage all of it?
I think in the beginning, mostly when so just a real a little bit of background. So I opened the farmers market, and then after a year, the farmers market is shut down. The farmers
Yeah.
market. So they gave us like a 1 month notice, and
Yeah.
I needed to find another place. And then I had to decide: am I gonna just close the business? Am I gonna find another farmers market, or am I gonna take a bigger step and open a storefront?
Yeah.
And I decided to open a storefront, and that was like a big, big step.
Very brave.
Yeah. And I had a baby. The baby was born at that time, so I had my second child.
Yeah.
And I was still on maternity leave, like, with my second child, and she would go with me to the store, and where they were painting, and if they were doing renovations, if I was doing grocery shopping, if I was buying equipment or whatever I was doing, I was carrying her with me. And it was challenging, just putting her in the Costco business shopping cart, or stacking her stroller with everything that I needed. And it has been like that for a while. So yeah, that was tough. But we opened the store. I finally was able to assign her to a childcare, so I could find childcare for her, and I had to leave her in a day home, and that was hard.
Very hard, I'm
Thinking
sure.
like I could have stayed longer with her. I have to leave her at a day home. She was almost 12 months at the time.
Yeah.
So I could focus and open the store. And it was like I was devastated on one side, like seeing she was so tiny. She was tiny. She was like a petite girl, and I was so devastated, so guilty. I'm leaving my daughter so I can go open the store. I had to be there at the store because we were opening. I had employees, but I had to be physically there to train them and to oversee the operation, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
And at the same time, going in the morning, dropping off my baby, and then driving to the store, training employees. It was hard, It was lots of guilt related to that. But at the time, like I knew these are the choices we've
That
made so
you made.
far, and she's still in good hands. She's receiving good care, and that's a step I need to make, and I'm
Yeah.
still the time that she's with me, I'm fully invested, and I'm still a good mom. It
Yeah,
doesn't make me a bad mom.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, I
But
mean
that's hard.
that's exactly my next question, It's very hard and I can totally understand the guilt and the sadness. But by April 2024, you had not one but two storefronts in different cities, Calgary and Edmonton. So, what shifts inside you between having a baby and deciding to expand? Because it was not just one storefront by 2024, it was two storefronts. So what happened and how did you
Yeah.
actually come to that decision that okay, I'm going to open the second one as well?
Yeah. So what happened is like in our journey as an entrepreneur, I opened the while I was still at the farmers market, I was approached by another Brazilian who lived in Calgary,
Wow.
and he talked to me and he said, "Hi, I come from Brazil as well. I live in Calgary, and I had an extensive background with açaí and producing açaí." And he said I had brands in Brazil, and stores, gelato and açaí. How would you feel if you got approached by someone who wanted to be a partner? So we started to talk, and we clicked right away. And his family, amazing people back from Brazil as well. They were living in Calgary, and we talked between our family and their family, and we decided it was a good match for business. So he joined, him and his wife. They joined Tupi Bowls in 2023. And so we gathered forces, and we said, okay, so let's expand in Calgary and in Edmonton area. So that's how we decided to have two stores. So we are both owners. We're both invested on the business, but he mostly does the Calgary operations, and I mostly do the Edmonton
Through the
operations.
Edmonton
Otherwise,
operations.
physically would be really hard for me. Yeah, would be hard for me because of the kids, right? I still have
Yeah,
little kids, and yeah, but like I have a business partner who is really hands-on, and we're both invested in a company and making things work. So finding strategic partnerships is also another tip for for
absolutely.
growth.
Yes, like you said, ask for help and take all the help that you get.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Really nice, really
Yes.
nice. So, I'm going to ask here, what goes into making one Tupi Açaí bowl? What goes into it? Not just the physical effort, but what are the ingredients like? And, just for everybody who doesn't know what exactly, the Tupi bowl looks like.
You mean like the product itself, or the
Mm.
company, like the culture and everything?
No, I mean, what do you actually serve to the people? What do they get?
Oh, okay. So acai bowls. I don't know if you, whoever is listening, if you ever heard of acai bowls, probably you do because it's getting very popular in Canada lately. So
Yeah.
acai is a berry from Brazil. So it's a little berry that kind of looks like a blueberry, but it's grown only on the Amazon.
Uh-huh.
You won't find easily in other parts of the world. So it's the biggest place for acai is Brazil. And what happens is this fruit, it has a little earthy taste, very peculiar, but it's processed into a pulp. And then from that pulp, you blend it, and then you get an acai bowl. So acai is the fruit, and this
Is the fruit.
fruit was first discovered by the indigenous population in Brazil years and years and centuries ago. It is something that is part of the indigenous diet. And the local people who lived around the Amazon and in the north of Brazil has açaí as like a cultural food. So it's something that people eat every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. So it is part of the culture, it's ingrained in the culture. And then through the country, it became something very popular as well. So if you travel to Brazil, you're gonna see every corner you go, every beach you go, you're gonna find an açaí bowl shop. Yeah. So it's a
Beautiful.
big thing, you know, it's big part of Brazilian culture. And it, because it's so exclusively grown in Brazil, it is like a big hallmark of our culture, you know. So it means a lot
Wonderful.
for us Brazilians.
And
Yeah. So what
how do you
I sell the
outsource?
bowls. We sell the bowls. We also have some Brazilian treats. We also have some snacks and some Brazilian coffee at the store, and it's kind of like a little piece of Brazil.
Absolutely. No, I was just going to ask, how do you outsource the raw materials for making the bowl? You know, I'm sure there is a logistics scene in the picture that needs to be taken care of, since you mentioned that it's only exclusively grown in the Amazon. So how do the logistics work out here?
Yeah, so they come from Brazil. The pulps come from Brazil. So the açaí comes in it can comes in drums, it can comes in buckets. It's like a pulp, like a fruit pulp.
Okay.
But the fruit pulp itself, it has an earthy taste. So it's not like a chocolate sweet taste. It's very earthy. It's very like a grainy texture. So the way people eat at the end, the final product, it's or you blend with other fruits in forms of a smoothie, or you make into a sorbet. That's the version that we work with. It's like an ice cream texture, but there's no dairy, so it's like a sorbet. It's a dairy free dessert, let's say. And then it goes very well with different toppings. So the fun part of acai bowls is like if you want it to be healthier, you can just stick with fruits, or if you want a little bit of sweetness, you can add condensed milk, you add honey, you add Nutella, you add chocolate chips. You do it's a very democratic type
Wow.
of desserts that if you are like on a diet, you can still make it work, or if you are just indulging, you can have a delicious dessert as well. So that's
Wow.
how, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for enlightening me and the other listeners who are hearing it for the first time. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's go back to August 2024. You found out you were pregnant with your third child while running two storefronts. Tell me honestly, what was going through your mind? Was there fear, excitement, or a sense of here we go again?
I think everything at once. Like I was always open to having another child. I was not expecting that it's gonna be like right away. So I have each of my child is 2 years difference. So I had a 4-year-old at home, a 2-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and then the baby. When she was born, and I was scared, of course. I think, am I gonna be a good mom for the three of them? How am I gonna share the attention and share all the responsibilities that it comes with a child, right? But at the same time, I was so happy to see my family growing. I was so happy to see that, like, I didn't just lose in my life, you know. Like I multiplied, you know. I multiplied.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then seeing like a full house and seeing myself as a big family that's still like five of us, and it was like a dream come true of seeing my own family being built again, you know. So much it's a privilege for me to be their mom, and so much love that they show every day to me, and so much learning that I get that I get from them. But of course I was scared. I was I was uncertain how it was gonna be, but surprisingly, everything goes very well. The siblings just love her. She's the sweetest baby, and I think the third time you really know what to expect, although they are very different. But you don't go through, for example, a newborn phase. You don't go through a newborn phase like, oh, I'm gonna have to wake up the whole night. It's like, oh, I get to hold my baby. I get to sniffle her. I had to snuggle with her. Like I enjoyed so much this third baby, you know, and I'm still enjoying her so much. So it's just amazing. It's just it's the best thing. Best thing in life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then you became a Canadian citizen in December 2024. So you'd already been building a life here for 6 years. But what did that citizenship ceremony mean to you? Did it finally feel like permission to stay or closure on something you had already decided?
I think that everything changed for me after I had my first son. Like having a child here and him being born in Canada, and my husband, he's not, he's Polish, Polish
Yeah.
Canadian. So I know that by the time I had my son here, I knew that I had to close my cycle back home because my probabilities of going back home and building a life there were very low.
Yeah.
So I kind of decided that since after having the child, I knew, right? But I think seeking the citizenship and going through the ceremony, you go through like a movie goes through your head of everything that happened until you achieve that. Because when I came here as a student, I had no idea what life had for me. I had no clue. I didn't know anyone here when I came. When I started at the U of A, I met people at the U of A, but I came to Edmonton and I didn't know anyone in Edmonton. I had no idea how Edmonton looked like. It
Yeah.
was the place I got accepted into, and then it's okay. Oh, University of Alberta. Where's Alberta? I don't know, but let's do it. you know. So a movie goes through your mind, and you see like all and how each small decision
Yeah.
led that at the time they were not significant, and how they led it to this big picture that now is not just me being a Canadian, but like being a mom of 3 kids, building a
Yeah.
life in Canada. It's like I felt proud of myself, of course, but also it gives you how do I say, not enthusiasm, but like it gives you like a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. Sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
on maternity leave. So, what would you say to other women, especially immigrant mothers or expat mothers who've lost, mothers who are building? What can they derive from your journey?
Sorry, what came? I didn't hear the last
I'm,
part.
I'm going to repeat that. My question was, what would you tell the other immigrant moms, expat moms who've lost or mothers who are building? What can they derive from your journey?
What I would say from my journey is first thing, relationships. So don't go through this journey by yourself. Find people to walk with you.
Yep.
Find other moms. Find groups of people who understand you, who get you. For me, it has a lot to do with other Brazilian moms. I have lots of Brazilian moms who I became friends with in my neighborhood or just in WhatsApp groups or whatever Brazilian meetups, and being open to establishing new relationships and finding people to walk with you. Don't do this by yourself because it's heavy. It's a lot. No, even from a grief perspective, I received so much help, but mostly because I was open for it. I was open. If people would offer me help, I would say, yes, I'll take it. Yes, thank you. Or let's do it. Don't shut yourself. And especially from other immigrant moms. I know some people from Brazilian communities, they used to say, when you go to Canada or if you move abroad, you have to get involved with people from the local culture, not from people back home. But that was not my experience at all. I found so helpful to have other moms that were also struggling with the same things and had the same background as me. So first thing I would say is accept help. Be open and don't do it alone. The second thing for me that was life changing was my faith. I grew up a Christian, and I did grew up with my principles and whatever I learned from childhood. But it gets to a point when you go through something big or a loss or a big change, and you gotta ask yourself what makes sense for you and what doesn't make sense for you. For me, the faith was something that I really carried with me through my whole journey. And there was a point where I had to ask myself, what how am I gonna deal with all these situations? How am I gonna deal with loss? How am I gonna deal with being a new mom and doing all this from scratch, like after losing everyone? And I took the decision, no, I'm gonna have faith. I'm gonna have faith. I'm gonna believe that God is still good, that God has a plan for my life, that even if bad things happen, I'm still here. I'm a mom. I have a precious child. I have an incredible, supportive husband, and these are blessings. So I decided to look at my life as the cup still full, instead of the cup being empty.
Yeah.
And I decided to focus on that and have faith that I didn't know what plans God had for my life moving forward, but I'm gonna believe Him. I'm gonna trust His purpose for me, and I'm gonna embrace it. So
Beautiful.
these two things were the most impactful things that I would say that I would like people to look and feel inspired is like find people to walk with you, and second one, have faith. Have faith, don't
Absolutely.
lose faith, and find something to believe and something to hold on to, and that gives more meaningful. That gives more meaningful meaning for your life. That gives more
Meaning.
meaning for your
Yeah,
life.
absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what I would say.
Your parents did not get to witness Tupi Açaí Bowls grow. They did not get to meet two of your three children. How do you carry them forward now? What would you want them to know about who you've become?
I really hope they're proud of me. I really hope that they could see. I'm really hoping that they can see. I believe they can see somehow, but that they can witness that the seeds that they planted in my life, of faith, of love, of all the principles, all the things that they taught me since I was a child, that the seeds grew,
Yeah.
and that I am that all these things helped me to become who I am now. That even if they are not here to walk with me physically, um, that I made it through it. That I made it through it.
It made, yeah.
Yeah, that like it was hard. It is hard. Not gonna say that it's over. So grief, as I said, walks with you, but I still choose life, and I hope that they can see that they had a very important role in my life of planting those seeds, and that whoever I am now, it is a result of everything they taught me and everything they inspired me through their lives. So I really hope that they can see this.
Beautiful. And if your children ask you one day, Mom, how do you keep going when it is also much? What would you like to tell them?
First, I would say that it's not just me. I do believe that God gives me strength, that the strength doesn't come only for me. And I would also like to tell them that I'll also do this. I also choose to continue because of them.
Yeah.
Because I want them to have a happy mother, because I want them to have a good example, because I want them to look at me when they're struggling with something, when they're facing something difficult, and say, my mom made it through it, we can make it through as well. So it's mostly faith and them, my family. It's them, it's my kids and my husband, and it's like that's why I keep going. This is the reason I keep doing what I'm doing, because of them.
Beautiful. One last question. What's the one thing you need other people, especially women who feel like they're drowning in their own stories, to understand about building a life while grieving, while mothering, and also while starting over?
I would say something that took a while for me to accept is that you have to own your story. It doesn't matter how beautiful or how ugly your past looks, or how the journey looked like for you to get to the point you are now. It doesn't matter what happened there, but it own your story, because so much learning, so much seeds that were planted when you look back for you to become who you are now. So I would say, if you are an immigrant mom and if you are raising your kids abroad, you are already a winner. No, you already stand out from so many people that didn't have the courage to make any change, and you did for a higher purpose.
Right.
So hold on to this purpose. Hold on to this purpose, on the whys that made you get to this point, and be proud of your story. Be proud of your story. Share your story. If you, I don't know, like even if you don't think your story is beautiful, even if you don't think you did anything remarkable, or even if your story has ugly parts like mine has to, you can still inspire people with your courage,
Absolutely.
with your story.
Absolutely.
So own it, you know, be proud
That's the
of who
reason
you
I
are.
want to have these conversations, because like I always say, each story matters, each mom matters, especially if you're doing it on foreign soil. So very well said, Ren. I'm going to close with asking, what does home mean to you now?
So what homes mean to me now? Home means my husband and my three kids. That's what home is to me. When I look back home, my original home, there's so many pieces missing. So I don't have the apartment I grew up anymore. I don't have my parents and my brother physically there anymore. And when I look here, I love it. I love it here. I love the life we built here, but it's been my home for the past, let's say, 7-8 years maximum. But for me, it doesn't matter the place you are. Even if I was not here, if I was not in Canada, if I was at a completely different country, my home is the people I build life with. So that's what it means for me. My three kids and my husband. Doesn't matter where in the world we are, they are my home.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lovely thought. Ren, I want to thank you, not just for your time today, but your honesty, because you didn't give us just the polished version. You gave us the truth that resilience isn't about breaking, it's about what you choose to build with those pieces. You've shown us that grief and creation are not opposites, they are partners. That you can hold your parents' memory in one hand and your kids' future in the other. That home isn't a place that you return to, it's what you carry, what you create, and what you serve to strangers who became community. To every woman who's listening, who feels like she's too much and not enough all at once, who's building something while her heart is still in pieces. Ren's life is your permission slip. Not to have it all figured out, but to keep going anyway. To open that stand, to expand, to say yes to the third baby and the second storefront, and the life that terrifies you because it asks you to believe in your own capacity. Your parents didn't get to see the empire you built, Ren, but they gave you the foundation. And you've turned grief into sustenance, loss into legacy, survival into something that feeds thousands. Thank you for reminding us that becoming her again doesn't mean going back. It means going through and coming out of the other side with your hands full of purpose. This is what immigrant motherhood looks like. This is what resilience takes life. This is Ren's story, and it's just the beginning. Thank you, Ren. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.